Hello to all my queers and dears who may or may not be here. Welcome back to the stream where we play non-violent games, games that reward the player for intellectual and or emotional engagement rather than for participating in combat or other forms of violent gameplay loops. We are finally back with the Great Ace Attorney after a little bit of a break with that to play Tell Me Why for Pride Month. Oh. Whoops. Need to... Yep, there we go. And just a little bit of that. There you go, folks. Now I can look straight at you while playing the game. Sort of. Anyways, you get a better look at my face, is the point. And as you might see, I have a little bit of an updated setup with a nice new background. So I think that looks a little nicer than what I usually have, you know? The chat box, I hope, is going to work today. I put some work into it last night to hopefully make it function properly. So let's hope it does that. But yeah, without further ado. Oh, first let's switch over to the controller that doesn't have a sticky button. There we go. And yes, we will be playing Ghost Trick very soon. Final chapter. The resolve of Ryanosuke Narada. Ryanosuke. 3rd November, 9:14 a.m., the Old Bailey, Defendant's Antechamber. So, the time has finally come. Today, we unravel everything. I'll be counting on your support more than ever today, Miss Susato. Miss Susato? Oh, no. What's the matter, Miss Narado? Nothing. It's just saying that I'll be relying on your support today, but, I'm so sorry. Of course, I know I can be rather incompetent at times, but I shan't let you down. Would you mind helping me to my feet, then? I'm really very sorry. Sato-san isn't her usual self at all. That's hardly surprising, I suppose. She just found out that her father is the partner of a world-famous detective. Not to mention... Oh, good morning, sir. Lord Van Zeeks. Thank you for all your efforts yesterday. Did I hear that correctly? What? Oh, no, nothing. Just, I hope we can clear things up today. I really can't make this man out. His face says, I hate you, but his words are almost jovial today. In fact, he hasn't been very Reaper-like at all since this all began yesterday. Lord Van Zeeks isn't the Reaper, Miss Nardo. Good point. The Reaper. I suppose, in hindsight, I shouldn't have allowed that misconception to go unchallenged. Huh? It was my tacit acceptance of that pseudonym. My failure to stop the Reaper becoming something more than a mere legend that led to all of this.
But you're not to blame for that, Lord Van Zieks.
It's only because serious crime in the capital dropped off so sharply when the public started calling you that. That's why you didn't say anything, isn't it? To be frank, I'm not sure that was the sole reason. What do you mean? There was a rumor at the time that the Reaper was really the ghost of my late brother. That having been slain by that evil killer, Clint's restless spirit returned as some sort of demigod. To wield a deadly blade of justice where I, by dint of the law, could not. Yes, we've heard that story too. When I lost him, I felt as though I'd lost my guiding light. I didn't know where to go or what to do. And so, in some small way, I wondered if perhaps those rumors made me feel his absence a little less keenly. Even if I knew it was just an illusion, just some nonsense conjured up by an over-imaginative public.
He was obviously extremely important to you, Lord Clint Van Zieks.
Well, what's important now is uncovering the truth. That is all that matters. I know that you didn't take anyone's life. And I intend to prove that beyond a shadow of a doubt in court today. I never thought I'd say this, but I can see it in your eyes. That burning desire to cut through all the lies and deception. I can't deny it any longer. I can't deny it any longer. You are a lawyer of absolute integrity. Thank you. Now tell me, why do I detect the scent of expensive tea leaves in the air?
Oh, Iris! When did you get here? Oh. I brought you one of my special blends. Hurley loves it. He says it helps him to clear his head.
I thank you.
Oh,
That's surely the first and last time I'll ever see a sight like this. You seem different today, Iris.
Oh?
Sort of subdued, I suppose?
I am not.
What happened yesterday is obviously still playing on her mind a lot. She's clearly very troubled about having stolen that autopsy report from Dr. Seiss' laboratory.
All right, then. Good luck to you both. I have to make a move now. Oh, you're not staying?
I thought you'd want to watch today's proceedings.
Well, I'd like to cheer you on, obviously. But I've got lots to get ready.
Get ready? For what?
Oh, yes. Would you take this?
Isn't that one of the little felt dolls that's usually dangling from your knapsack?
Yes, it's a lucky charm. A little Hurley that I made once.
A Hurley? Looks more like a Harley to me.
If for some reason you completely run out of options in the trial today, then just pull this little Hurley's ears as hard as you possibly can.
What? Pull his ears?
That's right. It's a way to bring good luck. I think you might need it.
Iris' lucky charm has been entered into the court record. A little doll of Mr. Sholmes in hair form. I've been told to tug its ears if I run out of options in the trial today.
You think what we'll need is luck? I just sneaked a peek inside the courtroom, and it seemed very different to normal.
Yes, it would seem that a certain someone has decided to pull out all the stops. What does that mean?
What about Mr. Sholmes, Iris? I don't know. He was out all night, and he hadn't come home by the time I left this morning. Oh, I see.
Was Professor Mikotoba out all night too, do you think, Mrs. Sato?
Yes, it would seem so. I telegrammed the hotel this morning. And apparently they didn't come back to their rooms last night at all.
They?
Father and Judge Jigoku, I mean.
Did Jigo do too?
That's right. Nobody appears to have seen either of them since yesterday.
Counsel for the defense and the defendant! Court is about to be in session. Please make your way inside the courtroom at once.
Good luck then, Bruno. Good luck, Susie.
Yes. Thanks, Iris.
And you, Mr. Reaper. I hope it goes well.
Once again, I thank you for the delicious tea. It was very soothing.
Oh, I'm so glad. We must go inside now, Lord Van Zieks.
Lord Van Zieks has always been the formidable prosecutor I've had to lock horns with in court. But not today. Today I battle with another in pursuit of the truth. My best friend Kazumasagi, who I trust more than anyone else in the world. Now I understand what it was that drew me here to Britain all those months ago. Now I know exactly what destiny had in store for me. It's all been leading up to this one day, to this one trial, to this one final reckoning. November 3rd, 9:30 a.m. The Old Bailey courtroom. Feels even more oppressive in here than it did yesterday. There are cold stares piercing me like knives from all sides today.
Ah, Mr. Naru, look.
Lord Strongheart! Kazuma must have known beforehand. Here we go. Voice memos. Strongheart.
So, entering for a great city.
The ramifications of this trial now extend far beyond the murder of one Scotland Yard inspector. In fact, events have come to light that threaten to rock the very foundations of our country's legal system. The escape of a condemned criminal on the night of his execution, the subsequent unlawful shooting of the man, and the revelation that the prison staff must have been complicit in the jailbreak. Britain is currently hosting influential members of the judiciary from countries all around the world. It is imperative that we uncover the truth in these proceedings to avoid international embarrassment. By royal decree, this will continue to be a closed trial, and one over which I, Male Strongheart, exercise total and unequivocal authority. The 6 jurors' flames, just as was the case in yesterday's proceedings. Those here present in the public gallery are distinguished members of our judiciary, assembled to bear witness to a fair judicial process. In other words, a collection of your acolytes, Lord Strongheart. On a personal note, I find this most distressing, Lord Van Zieks. You were a prosecutor of exceptional talent. Much like your brother Clint, in fact. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. For the trial of Berak Van Zieks, who officially stands accused of murder. Counsels for the prosecution and defense, are you in full readiness to proceed? The defense is ready, my lord. As is the prosecution. Yesterday's proceedings brought to light a shocking and disturbing fact. There was a side to the victim, Inspector Tobias Gregson, that was unknown to his superiors at Scotland Yard. Yes, he was carrying out operations in secret, which Scotland Yard knew nothing about. And in those clandestine operations, he had an accomplice. Mr. Daily Vigil would be given the inspector's identification, and present himself around the capital in order to establish credible alibis for Gregson. In that way, Gregson appeared to be carrying out his regular Scotland Yard work when in fact he wasn't. At the end of yesterday's session, Mr. Vigil, who had been suffering from amnesia, regained his memory. It would appear he had buried his memories of the time deep inside himself as a means of self-preservation. Because whilst he was engaged as chief warder at Barclay Prison, he abetted the convict's escape. Mr. Vigil is currently recuperating at St. Sinner's. He's recovered enough to give a signed statement about his movements on the day prior to the incident. He's formally admitted to posing as Gregson whilst investigating the Red Hooded League. Which brings us to the crucial issue of the victim's time of death. The defense yesterday proposed a suggestion the victim may have been killed one day earlier. This was based largely on the discovery that the victim's pocket watch had not been wound. The prosecution has something to report on that subject, my lord. Really? Go ahead, Prosecutor Hasagi. I met once again with the coroner yesterday to discuss the issue. She confirmed that the defense's suggestions could not be ruled out. It's entirely possible that Inspector Gregson was killed on 31st October, the day before his body was discovered. I have here an updated autopsy report that includes the amended details. The official opinion of the investigation team was made clear yesterday, that the time of death was 5 p.m. on 1st November. There are indications of an attempt to disguise the real time of death, however. It seems that the natural decaying process of the victim's body may have been slowed by keeping it chilled. That's out of the question. There are no refrigeration devices in that part of London large enough to accommodate a human corpse. My lord, this is more than just conjecture. There's evidence to support the idea. We must investigate it thoroughly. Very well. The court will accept the new report as evidence. However, if this updated report is deemed to be accurate, it would give renewed significance to the movements of the victim on the day before the Fresno Street incident. It would, yes. Especially since on that day, Inspector Gregson was using Mr. Vigil to cover up his real movements. It's conceivable that he was killed in the course of his secret activities. Do I sense that the prosecution has some information regarding those activities? Scotland Yard put an enormous effort into investigating that precise matter yesterday. I think we should begin by presenting the results of that investigation work. So the prosecution calls its first witness now. Gina! State your name and occupation for the court. Inspector Gina Listrop, reporting. Representative of Scotland Yard. A self-conferred rank, but never mind. Gina, again?
What's your problem, Mother? What's with that, Gina? Again? Look,
Ah!
The boss meant the world to me. He earned more than me for anyone else ever did.
Oh?
Inspector Gregson, you mean? He got me out of the back slums of the East End and took me under his wing. Taught me that life can have a purpose. That's why I'm the best person to be standing there speaking for him. Oh, Gina.
Right. All out of the goodness of Gregson's heart. Not at all that he had his arm twisted by Mr. Sholmes, no. What's relevant to these proceedings is that the outcome of Scotland Yard investigations yesterday has revealed that the victim was carrying out some assignment the police knew nothing about.
Very troubling. That face. Lord Strongheart knew.
So, Inspector Lestrade, let's hear exactly what it says in that report.
Come right up, sir.
The victim's movements.
All your detectives are supposed to follow orders, investigate what they're told. But a little search of the boss's office turned up a notebook had a load of secret meetings. There's a load of secret meetings in it. According to that, the boss was looking into some smuggled goods dealings that day. Looks like it was a big job and all, but the coppers weren't onto it yet. What matters most is, there's witnesses what saw Reap at the place too.
Smuggled goods?
I don't know, do I? I'm just telling you what was written in the book.
Tobacco, tea, spices, medicines, goods of all sorts flow into London by illegal channels from across the globe. It's well known that they're disposed of at regular black markets that take place in the capital. But the police are rarely able to locate them in time. So, Inspector Gregson was investigating one of those black markets?
It's been suggested that high-ranking government officials may be involved in black market activity. No doubt Gregson was trying to avoid details of his investigations being leaked to the involved parties. That would explain why he was operating on his own authority without the Yard's knowledge.
And do we know the dealings were taking place this time? Do we know where? Do we know where the dealings were taking place this time? In a particular room of a certain exclusive London gentleman's club. And on the day in question, the accused is known to have been there. That's the conclusion of Scotland Yard's investigation into the matter.
That can't be! We haven't heard anything about any of this.
Members of the club have testified to it. There's no question. The accused, Baroque Van Zieks, was present.
That would be very significant testimony, then. Oh my, but Lord Van Zieks has made no mention of this at all.
In short, Lord Van Zieks had ample opportunity to murder the victim.
Very well, then. Counsel for the defense, begin your cross-examination.
So, you follow orders, do you, Gina?
Nah, not me. I'm above all, let's say.
Oh.
Boss always gets special orders for me. Grab us some fish and chips, or go and give Toby his grub. That kind of thing.
So, errands more than orders, then. This detective is still an apprentice, after all.
Yeah, well, this apprentice ain't want to sit around and wait to be told what to do. Even by the boss. That's why I've been doing my own investigations into what happened. I didn't find much at first.
So you went through Inspector Gregson's things?
Yep, it's part of the independent distraught investigation.
I'm sure your superiors would be delighted that you're taking the initiative.
So I snuck into his office when no one else was about. Because if anyone at the Yard had seen me going in there, they'd have turfed me straight onto the street.
This is sounding less and less like an investigation and more like something else. The prosecution understands that it was this very detective who discovered the notebook.
You got all that right. Nothing gets past Inspector Lestrade and just the Assistant Chief Inspector Toby. We found it hidden in one of his desk drawers that had a false bottom.
That's impressive.
So then I went down to hide myself when no one could find me, so I could have a butcher's at what was written here. Because if anyone at the Yard found me out, they'd have toughed me straight on the street. Hey, I'll give you an in now, though, ain't I? And it wasn't for me, it never would have been found.
Do you have any idea where those dealings were taking place?
Yep. It was all there in the boss's notes. Let's say if I could remember.
As I already said, the illegal dealings were due to take place at a gentleman's club. Well, I suppose we should see what this inspector's identification looks like inside. This Scotland Yard insignia looks genuine to me.
And the department and identification number details are all correct as well. There's no doubt this really is Inspector Gregson's identification. What a charming little rabbly version of Mr. Sholmes. Do you suppose this is how Iris sees him? Are you alright, Miss Nardo? Your eyes are veritably boring into the poor doll's ears.
Oh, sorry. I was just wondering. What do you suppose would happen if I were to tug its ears with all my might right now?
I'm sure that we'll find out when the time is right. To become a proper gentleman, you really must learn some stoic patience.
But I want to know!
Let's have a look inside.
Gregson's trunk. Oh. Have you seen this huge gash across the side of the trunk here? It's gone right through the leather and into the metal behind.
Gosh, for a metal chest like this that's been so badly damaged.
Oh, excuse me.
Whatever made the gash must have struck the side of the trunk with considerable force.
I wonder how it happened.
Look, there's something inside. Ooh, let's see. It appears to be a passport, authorizing him to travel overseas.
Was Inspector Gregson about to go on a trip abroad then?
Perhaps the date of departure might tell us something. That was... Oh!
What is it?
It was for travel on 31st October, just one day before the incident.
What? Really? Passport entered into the court record. Gregson went to France the day before his body was discovered. Well, that's certainly a bit of a contradiction, ain't it? Oh, my God.
Look at this dark stain here. Do you think... Yes, I'm afraid so. I think it's blood.
Ugh, I knew you were going to say that. So that presumably means...
that this was present at the scene when Inspector Gregson was killed. It's the most logical conclusion, yes.
Do you think Gina's been carrying this around with her? If you didn't know any better, I suppose it does look like a grease stain from all the fish and chips. I disagree wholeheartedly. Name to Tobias Gregson, passport number ACD0522. Date of departure within 1 week from 31st October. Yeah, okay. Clint's autopsy report. 31st of May between... As I said, the illegal dealings were due to take place at a gentleman's club. Yes, I remember, but I was hoping to find out the name of the club. Sir! Hi, sir! Yeah, it's nice, right? Have I tried eating the evidence? I have not. I would, but I don't think I have an option for that. That won't be necessary. What? It's conceivable that the club might be used again by the smugglers in the future. Therefore, the prosecution has been asked not to reveal the name in these proceedings.
I don't know what all the fuss is about. It's right here. All I've got to do is read it out. I could, too. I've got this reading game button up now. Can I show you what I can do? Go on. What's the yarn?
The judge hasn't signaled his objection yet. I could try to find out. What should I do? Insist. This is a closed court. The proceedings are confidential. There shouldn't be any possibility of the information being leaked. As I explained, there is some possibility of politicians being involved in this affair. The prosecution is rightfully exercising caution, I imagine. No, my lord. The prosecution has no objection. Casimir? There's no question that Inspector Gregson was looking into these black market dealings. However, it's not yet been established that he was on that particular trail on the day in question. If the defense requires to know the club's name, the prosecution has no intention of being obstructive. Right then. I'll get to show off my reading skills. Apparently, he smuggled a good deal that was happening at a gentleman's club called the Grouse. The Grouse? What sort of a club is that? I ain't got the foggiest. Clubs aren't exactly my thing. But I am kind of curious. They're not places where a foreign student like you would be readily admitted. Have you looked in the mirror recently? I'll tell you what. Me and Chief Inspector Toby could go in undercover. Could you, though? I could pick out a few good marks and see what else I can find out while I was in there. I really don't think you should go picking out anything. Anyway, that's where these black market dealings were going to take place, is it? Yeah, it's got to be. That's what the lower ranking detectives at the yard reckon. Says the even lower rank. It says the even lower ranking detective. So, how had Inspector Gregson come to find out about it in that case? That's the question, ain't it? Oh, I'm just an apprentice, so. And why didn't he inform Scotland Yard of his findings? Yeah, it's what I was asking myself. Because, you know, I'm just an apprentice. When it suits you, yes. Anyway, the point is, something went on at that club, no question. You can't say that for certain, though, surely. Lord Van Zeeks was at the club? He was. Detectives who visited the club yesterday to make inquiries have confirmed it. Several members report having seen the accused being admitted to the room in question as a guest. It looks like there's no disputing that he was there, then. Well, we know that Lord Van Zeeks was investigating Inspector Gregson, don't we? Perhaps he'd already discovered the Inspector's secret notebook. Which led him to the club, you mean? Maybe. Presumably, then, there are also eyewitnesses who could testify that Gregson was there. None have been identified at this time, no. So the all-important victim wasn't seen at this mysterious club. Oi! Why aren't you asking Inspector Lestrade here, eh? That's all I've got to work with. Gina's not holding back with that ice-cold stare of hers, is she? I really don't know what to make of all this. Lord Van Zeeks told us that he was investigating Inspector Gregson, but he never once mentioned that he met the inspector the day before the incident. You don't think Lord Van Zeeks could have been lying to us, do you? That's not the only way to explain this. If everything Lord Van Zeeks has told us is true, then there must be a mistake in this testimony somewhere. You mean there are details we've yet to uncover? Exactly. A clue, perhaps, that even Gina hasn't noticed. That's what we should be looking for here. Wait, what, really? That last statement seemed a little questionable to me. What do you think, my lord? I see no inconsistency there. Do you? You could span the Straits of Dover with those wide eyes, Counsel, and be gone from this island forever, I hope. Do you want me to fill the English Channel with tears? Vital evidence recovered from the crit. Glass over the face really is badly cracked. Look.
What a shame when the inspector clearly looked after it so carefully.
I imagine Mr. Sholmes could repair it, don't you?
Yes, I should think so.
He's very adept at things like this. Useful man to have around, in fact.
But kindly remember that he's a great detective, Miss Nardo, not an odd job man.
So, this is where the little policeman figurine's key goes into on the watch. Lighting it up every single day for 10 years without fail.
Yes, it was obviously a thing of great importance to the inspector.
Or a reminder of the past, lest he forget. There's a tiny little stub sticking out from this small hole here, look.
I suppose there must have been a little knob or something on that for setting the time.
In that case, seeing as we know the inspector took such good care of this watch, it probably broke when the incident occurred, didn't it?
Yes, of course.
Which could mean that there's a small part of the watch still at the scene, maybe. Oh. Bet that'll come into play.
There are details of a whole raft of cases dating back years on here, aren't there?
This paper from 10 years ago is browning with age, look.
Out of interest, the most recent thing appears to be this newspaper cutting here.
Oh, it's the same Red-Headed League advertisement that Mr. Sholmes had picked out.
And do you remember? There was a red hair piece at the scene too.
Was Inspector Gregson an exponent of the Red-Headed League then?
Oh, what's this? Miss Nardo, look.
Oh yes, it's a smudge of some kind. In fact, it looks just like a handprint.
And the color. That's blood, isn't it? Oh dear, how disturbing.
Shot in the chest. Blood, huh? If only there was a way to confirm that. Perhaps by tasting it. Sarah, I'm gonna pretend you didn't say that. I don't know why my go-to joke is eat the evidence. You know, I was fine playing along until you crossed that line, okay? Hold on. Yeah, look, I gotta set some line, right? Something that's like, you know... I don't know, drinking blood, or licking blood, or whatever, just a little bit too far for me, personally. Color. For some reason the thing isn't working. I don't know why. The chat box, I mean. Tried to put a lot of work into this last night. This really is quite frustrating, you know. I mean, there's literally no reason for this to, like, not be working at this point, you know? Oops, nope, that's too much. There we go. Okay. Sorry, I just... like, this is really annoying. Wait a second. Is that... there's something there. Got laundry to do? Okay. Oh my god. That would be... well, I hope to see you back here then at some point. Oh, you're doing laundry while listening. Got it. So I'm all good, chilling. Uh, so this is frustrating. The chat box is technically working, kind of. Sort of. Yeah, it is, right? So that's currently what I'm trying to deal with. Um, let's. Oh boy. To quote Jello Apocalypse's Professor Layton versus playthrough, looks like a job for a tiny Layton. Well, I don't have a tiny Layton, so I'll have to do. Like, what the hell is going on here? Seriously. Like, that's not a like a full thing. That's not a full chat box. So what is going on here, you know? Like what is actually like going on here, please? Okay, so that what the hell? Just what what what? And I guess this is technically working now. But it's you know, whatever. I guess it's working kind of. It's working technically. Like it's a weird thing that I've had to do to make that function. Cuz it you know what? Just let's just move on. Let's just move on. Stupid freaking ah. Okay, I'm gonna try to present the passport on this last, on the last one. Nope. Oh, whoops. Let's have a look inside. Maybe there's something I missed in here. No, doesn't look like it, actually. It was issued for travel to France. Oh, it was issued... Oh, so he wasn't in France the day before. Was it? No, wait. Frick. Anyway, so we need to prove that Gregson wasn't there, clearly, right? But oh, to be able to go to France in a quick day trip on a nice train. Yeah. It's not my kind of thing. Oh! Nope. Okay, I was wrong. Never mind. The witness's last statement exhibits a fundamental inconsistency. Not one that any British court would recognize, counsel. What? Remember, this is a closed court. Whatever fate befalls you in here, no one outside will ever know. Should I be wondering if I'll make it out of this courtroom alive? For the applicant, one additional person to travel. Oh, that's interesting. So what am I missing here? Because I thought it would be like, oh, he was in France. No. Okay, so I've used the passport on literally every single one. On literally every statement, so... My lord, as counsel for the defense, I must object to that last statement. And as the judge, I must deny your objection. There is no contradiction here. Oh. No contradiction, other than the fact that a Far Eastern lawyer is practicing in a British courtroom. We've wasted enough time. It's clear to me that any further discussion of this case will be fruitless. Barak Van Zieks, I would like to think that however misguided, you acted out of a sense of justice nonetheless. Though it pains me to have reached this conclusion. No! Wait, my lord. In accordance with the findings of this court, I hereby pronounce the defendant Barak Van Zieks guilty. That concludes business. Court is adjourned. Okay, so if it's not the passport, what is it? That'd be the question. That would be the question. I don't know why I just went pirate there, but I did and I'm stuck with it now, so. Surprise twist. Pirates attack the courtroom and in walks Guybrush Threepwood, who takes over the case. And proceeds to royally screw it up until, of course, he fakes all the evidence. Like he did in chapter 4 of Tales of Monkey Island. At which point he actually does win the case. For basically no reason other than pure luck and the fact that he's the protagonist of the video game. Oh. What the heck? So weird. Sorry, this whole chat box thing is really annoying. I don't know why it's having the issues it's having. Say Libby. Oh no, I didn't just ruin the whole thing, did I? Tell me I didn't ruin the whole thing. Frick. Okay, there. Okay. Sorry about this. Yeah. Sorry. Sorry, it's a whole thing. Let's try this. Okay, let's deal with that for now. Yeah. Oh. Nope, apparently not. Not what it should be. Wap bap ba 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 bamboo. Really sorry about this. This is just... Oh, I really... After this, I'm gonna, I remember nothing from the movie Grease except that string of random sounds. Oh, got it. Okay, we just need to, expand the width a little bit, I think. Yeah, I wasn't just typing literally random gibberish. Hey, I mean, you could have been, and it literally wouldn't have changed the thing. Like, you could have been typing gibberish, and it would have accomplished the exact same thing. Got any ideas here, sir? I will... wait, I also remember Shoo Bop Shawada Wappa Yippity Boom Da Boom. That movie is weird. Am I sure it was a club? Am I sure it was a club? it is if I take their information, but obviously that's not necessarily the right information. Mr. Mikotoba has wonderful handwriting, doesn't he? This dark-suited young man is not in the least bit untrustworthy. It's just me, or does that make me sound extremely untrustworthy? I do wish he'd at least called you a nice young man. I'm really not sure that would help. Oh, it looks like this is some sort of steamship ticket. The SS Grouse, first class cabin 001. Yokohama departure, 11th September. London arrival, 1st November. Ah, that's the boat that Professor Mikotoba and Judge Jigoku came on from Japan, isn't it? Alright, sir. Thank you. Good hint. Very well done. Yes, I think it was cause they called it Dunkirk on the north coast of France for a night before finally arriving in Dover. I think it's been almost a year since we arrived in Dover on the SS Buria. Seems a shame not to keep your ticket as a memento of your trip, don't you think? Yes, I agree. I have mine safely in my diary. And I keep mine in my wallet, so I have it with me at all times. Oh, well, how strange. Where could it have gone? Are you like this on purpose, Miss Nado? Did I imagine it, or was that comment accompanied by a little sigh? Alright. Yeah, no. It was really good because it didn't tell me where to look or even what to look for. It just got me to think about what kind of information could be stored where. No, it's a really good hint. But Iris stole his wallet? No, I think Gina stole his wallet. I don't know how she did it, or when, but she did it. Like, she's the one who does that. Like, she's just always the one who does that. So, at some point, she did it. It could have been while she was giving testimony, for all I know. She just, like, slips quietly over to the defense bench and while we're, like, thinking. But maybe while we've got the court record open like this, she just slips over, steals my wallet, goes back to the whatever. I've read about these clubs that exist here in Britain. As I understand it, they're places where well-to-do gentlemen socialize with friends and colleagues. Oh. Okay. Look, I am glad that's what a gentleman's club is, because I was not sure, quite frankly. I thought, oh, are they going to go there in this game? And I'm glad they did not. Don't imagine for a second that a foreign student like you would be admitted. Seriously, is your mirror cracked or something? Do we know for sure that the contraband dealings were definitely happening at a club called the Grouse? The police are currently looking for evidence, but haven't found anything definitive yet. I'm sorry to say that they probably won't. What do you mean by that? I mean that the place Inspector Gregson was secretly going to visit on 31st October may not have been a gentleman's club at all. Yeah, they were just like Borman's only country clubs. It just... Okay, but without going into what exactly I thought a gentleman's club was, that is a term used for that, right? Like, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. And I don't want to look it up. Okay? I don't want to look it up. But I'm pretty sure. Yeah, now it is? Oh, no, I did not start this, okay? I just thought I heard it somewhere, okay? I did not start this. Oh, did you mean like now, as in like present day? It's a term that's used. Not like now, like oh, like I want to use that now that you said that. Okay, good, good. Okay, thank God. Okay, that makes me feel better. That makes me feel a lot better. Oh, by the way, Sarah, is this a better time for you? Because I know we touched base on that. So I'm starting about an hour later, as I talked to you about. Is this a better time? But yes, thank you. You're showing a very irreverent attitude towards our country's police force there, Council. If it wasn't a gentleman's club, then what was it? I don't know, today is. Fair enough, you know? Fair enough. I still think it was probably a... all over the place. Yeah. Well, I still think it was probably a good time to move it an hour later. Like I said, like at the very least, like, for like half of America, the point at which I usually have been starting my stream on weekdays is literally like the second the workday ends. So it's probably a good idea to have this an hour later than I have been. So. A steamship. You think it's a ship? I have the evidence to prove it. Right here. Let me see that. This dark-suited young man is not in the least bit untrustworthy. Ah, no, the other side, my lord. Be more specific next time. Ah, this would appear to be a ticket for passage upon a steamship, yes. The SS Grouse. So, there's a steamship named the Grouse that happens to share a name with the club. But I'm afraid to say, there's a flaw in your logic there. How? Look at the ticket. Notice the date of arrival in port. The ship arrived at the port of Dover on 1st of November. Ah! The day on which the sound like a gunshot was heard on Fresno Street. In other words, on the day in question here, 31st October, when the victim was on his clandestine mission. That ship hadn't yet docked on British shores. That would certainly make an undercover investigation somewhat challenging. The fact that the steamship hadn't yet reached Britain substantiates the defense's assertion that the victim was investigating the SS Grouse on the day in question. Then show your evidence for that assertion. Very well. In that case, counsel for the defense, present your evidence to the court now. Evidence that substantiates your claim that the victim was investigating the SS Grouse on 31st October. What's this? A passport for travel issued to the victim. Dated 31st October. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that just one day before the just one day before the inspector's body was discovered, there's a distinct possibility that he wasn't even in the country. Order! Order! This document is for passage to France. It does appear to have been officially authorized. The day before the SS Grouse arrived at Dover, it docked on the northern coast of France for a night. According to my father, who was on board, at the port of Dunkirk. Dunkirk, France. What could possibly have taken the victim there? I'm impressed, Ranosuke Naruto. I certainly didn't expect you to get your hands on that passport. What? You mean you knew about this? The prosecution's strategy for this trial has been laid down by the Crown Prosecution Office. On the day before the incident, the victim was investigating contraband dealings at a London club. That's the outcome of Scotland Yard's investigations and the line the prosecution has been asked to follow. But personally, I don't agree. I think the prosecutor's office is trying to hide something. What? And now that you've expertly disproven their assertion, I intend to reveal what I believe that something to be. What are you playing at, Prosecutor Asogi? A courtroom is a forum for the truth, my lord. Which is why it's my duty to present all the facts, without exception. Let me guess. This was your intention from the outset, wasn't it? You're damn right. The reason Inspector Gregson secretly made his way to the steamship docked in France on the day in question was to carry out a mission for the Reaper. The Reaper? Order! Order! What on earth are you saying, counsel? The prosecution made an assertion in court yesterday. Inspector Gregson was investigating the identity of the Reaper. When he discovered the location of the man's secret hideout, he was killed. As I'm sure everyone can imagine, by the Reaper's hand. But in reality, the truth is the opposite of that. What? Inspector Gregson wasn't investigating the Reaper at all. He was, in fact, acting for the Reaper. So, you're saying the mission he was undertaking was, obviously, an assassination? Barak Van Zieks never carried out any of the actual killings. Whenever the Reaper's victims lost their lives, he always had a cast-iron alibi. Which tells us that he must have had an accomplice. And you claim that was Inspector Gregson? What the hell do you think you're saying, huh? My boss would never have done nothing like that. And yet, when you consider all the facts, it all makes perfect sense. No, it can't be. We also arrived at the same conclusion, didn't we? That Inspector Gregson was operating as the Reaper. Even so, there's no way that the person giving him his orders was Lord Van Zieks. No, the true Reaper is somebody else. Barak Van Zieks is not the Reaper. A predictable response from someone who's advocating for the man. And even if it's true that Gregson was operating as an agent of the Reaper, the suggestion that he went aboard the SS Grouse on an assassination mission doesn't follow at all. Oh? You have some solid reason for doubting the assertion, do you, counsel? How about some solid reason for the assertion? There's no reason to believe it was an assassination. Absolutely. It's very simple. On the day in question, nobody was killed aboard that steamship. Professor Mikitova and Judge Jigoku were on that very ship. If someone had been assassinated, I'm certain we would have heard about it. What's so funny? You're right, of course. No suspicious deaths were reported on board the ship. But I think perhaps you've missed the point. That's precisely why Inspector Gregson himself lost his life. What? Gregson did board the SS Grouse that night with the intention of dispatching his mark. But his mission ended in failure. Failure? It seems that the defense hasn't yet grasped a very important detail here. What are you talking about? What detail? Oh, excuse me. Inspector Gina Lestrade. Eh? What? The victim's notebook that you read an excerpt from earlier. That doesn't contain details of secret investigations at all. It describes 10 years of assassination plots to be carried out by the Reaper of the Bailey. You're lying. Even for all them bludgers who got taken at it coming. The boss weren't the Reaper. Oh, Gina. There's no question that Tobias Gregson was heavily involved in the Reaper's activities. You may just be an apprentice, but if you've spent any time at Scotland Yard, you must have heard rumors.
I ain't heard nothing, and I don't believe a word of it.
Then testify again, as a representative of Scotland Yard. Consider it your chance to defend your boss.
Wait, I don't...
I concur.
The witness will give a new formal testimony. Miss Lestrade, you will tell the court everything you know about Inspector Gregson's secret notebook.
The Reaper's Notebook.
Yeah, this notebook does have a load of stuff about what the Reaper got up to these past 10 years. Names of victims, dates and places and stuff. And the last entry in there was 31st October. It set gross for the place on that date and the name of the mark. There was a note about him being a criminal who got away from the Reaper in court 10 years ago or something. But honest, the boss didn't do none of it. He was just investigating the Reaper, that's all.
Keep personal opinion out of your
testimony, witness. We require only established fact here. This must be so hard for her.
You can't deny it now, surely, Rana Sukinahada.
What can't I deny?
The notebook contained the name of the final mark and the location where the assassination would take place. That's information that the victim could only have known if he was working with the Reaper.
Ah!
So,
who was to be this final mark?
Go ahead, Inspector Lestrade. Read the name for the court. The name that's written alongside the entry that mentions the grouse on 31st October.
Hey! Oh, how do you read this in?
Reading's still not her strong suit.
That ain't your problem. That ain't the problem, alright? It's a funny name. It ain't English. It's hard to read.
So it's someone from overseas.
Let me have a better it. Shishiro, is it? Yeah, Shishiro. Jigoku. Jigoku, baby? Jigoku? What? It can't be. Shishiro Jigoku? That's Judge Jigoku.
Shishiro Jigoku. Certainly not an English name, you're right.
That can't be right. I know Judge Jigoku. I saw him the day before yesterday here in London. I know for a fact that the man hasn't been assassinated.
As I said, the Reaper failed.
Oh.
Gregson missed his chance to kill his mark and returned to British shores. But the Reaper wouldn't tolerate the mistake, so he killed the inspector personally. The Reaper, of course, being the accused, Barak Van Zieks.
It's an undeniably logical argument.
Kazuma, you planned for the trial to go this way all along, didn't you?
Pray forgive the discourtesy of filling my hallowed chalice whilst I stand accused of murder.
Lord Van Zieks, the accused has no right to speak uninvited in court. You will return to the dock.
I say nothing of whether or not I'm the Reaper. That's the task of this court to decide. But there is one thing I can say unequivocally. That girl is no detective. What? No, that's right, I ain't. I'm an inspector. Repeating rumors heard around the yard, reading entries from a notebook of unconfirmed origin. That's not testimony. It's practically a script. No doubt the rest of this trial will go exactly as you've clearly planned. Your hatred of me is understandable. In your mind, I'm sure I am the Reaper, who sent your father to the gallows all those years ago. But you're in danger of becoming a far more sinister Reaper yourself, by attempting to have me condemned with this feeble excuse for testimony.
What did you say?
Mr. Nardo, this is our chance.
My lord, the defense requests that the defendant be allowed to speak. He may be privy to important information relating to the testimony just given by the witness.
Very well. I'll make an exception and grant the request. The defendant may remain in the witness stand for the cross-examination.
Then allow me to toast the court's impartiality.
Don't raise your glass in my direction, sir. Counsel for the defense, begin the cross-examination immediately.
At once, my lord.
Yeah, it does have a load of stuff about what the times the victims died and yeah.
In other words, it shows that Gregson was basically acting as the Reaper.
Not even all. That ain't the only explanation, is it? It could have been investigating the Reaper in secret, and our notebook said what we found out.
If I may, when originally people began referring to me as the Reaper, I didn't object. I believed the power to intimidate London's criminal classes into compliance with the law would be beneficial. But you carried out your own investigations into the true identity of the Reaper, didn't you? Yes, and those investigations proved conclusively that Gregson was one arm of the Reaper.
One arm? What are you on about?
The Reaper's victims were all extremely shrewd criminals at the top of their game. There should be no way one person could have taken them on alone. The Reaper is an organization, with you at its head. I had spies at the yard keeping me abreast of Gregson's movements, letting me know when he was elsewhere. So I'd been able to check the most recent entry in his book. I knew the location. You knew it said Grouse. Believing it to be a reference to the Gentleman's Club, I went there on the day in question to investigate, alone.
Ah, so that explains why several members of the club claim to have seen you there.
But of course, the inspector was not there, because at the time he was making his way to the steamship docked on the northern coast of France, as shown by the passport found in the victim's metal trunk. Very well then, back to your testimony about the contents of his notebook.
Fine. Is something wrong, Mr. Nardo? Is something wrong, Mr. Nardo? You seemed a little shocked by something a moment ago.
Oh, no, it's alright.
I'm overthinking this, aren't I?
Names of victims, dates, places, and stuff? What in particular?
Well, besides the victims' names, his other name kept popping up.
What are the names of that?
It's the only one. It's the one I told you yesterday. The same name written over and over and over again.
You mean Asa Shin?
Yeah, that's the one. She's a friend of yours or something, ain't you?
Were you even listening yesterday?
Asa Shin, the assassin. What, like, killing you mean?
Gregson was the tactician. Gregson was the tactician, the one who came up with the plan of attack. He investigated the marks thoroughly, finding out when they would be truly vulnerable and who to use to get at them.
But the person actually executing the plans was someone else, you're saying?
If that's true,
then the Reaper does indeed start to sound like an organized group of vigilantes. Ah, then perhaps what it said on the passport document. Permission for the applicant and one additional person to travel. Could that additional person have been...
Clearly the assassin, who was meant to take Sashiro Jugoku's life.
Gina, can you confirm that? Against the final entry that listed Grouse and Sashiro Jugoku, what name was written? Oh, well, that's the only entry that didn't have a name next to it, as it happens.
What?
It just had like a question mark or something there, I think. In other words, Gregson himself didn't know the identity of the assassin in that case.
But Gregson was the one making the plans, was he not?
Oh, How infuriating.
A nameless assassin. And you're saying that the mark listed was Hishiro Jigoko. Jigoku.
That's what I say. Her name, if you ask me. And I thought your name was odd.
So pleased to have lost my crown there. Mr. Jigoku is the presiding judge of Japan's Supreme Court of Judicature.
I remember the man. He came to our country as a visiting student 16 years ago.
Studying international law and diplomacy under your tutelage, Lord Strongheart.
That bearded young fellow was a very able man, I must say.
Lord Strongheart was Judge Riku's mentor.
If I'm not mistaken, he returned to Japan 10 years ago now. 10 years ago, after that fateful case.
Precisely. In the aftermath of the Professor case, his repatriation was organized immediately.
It's a mystery why such a man would be listed in the inspector's notebook. I didn't think it was possible, but the mutiny has gotten even worse now. Maybe I'll just keep talking.
What do you mean a criminal? Judge Jigoku is no criminal.
Well, don't ask me. I don't know nothing about it. Oh, do you remember what Father told us? That Judge Jigoku did once appear in court here in Britain. It was related to the Professor case, I'm sure. Yes, of course, you're right.
Seshiro was trying to mitigate Genshin's guilt, so he took to the stand to testify. But he got a little carried away and, actually managed to break the witness stand. He also said some contemptuous words about the British Empire, for which he was charged. It was a pitiful situation, yes. I'd forgotten all about it, but I prosecuted that trial too, as it happens. You did? It was considered to be an adjunct to the Professor proceedings, you see. But he was acquitted after being told to make reparation for the damage caused to the stand. And there you have it! Have what? Surely the accused hasn't forgotten his own rule. That there's no saving anyone who faces the Reaper in court, guilty or innocent alike. What? No! Are you suggesting that the reason Judge Jigoku was targeted for assassination? The man was sent back to Japan immediately after that trial. The Reaper had no time to do his work. But then, 10 years later, the mark returns to Britain once more. Perhaps now you start to see just how vindictive the Reaper is.
Come on, that's absurd! To take someone's life for that?
Isn't the whole premise of the Reaper absurd, killing those who have been found innocent? Clearly the rules by which the man operates are beyond a sane person's comprehension.
But... Objection! Right, I've had just about enough of this. Gina? All this nonsense about the boss planning to kill people. It's cobblers. Come on, Odo.
Yes?
Why ain't you saying nothing? What? Why ain't you getting an out objection or something?
What?
You gotta follow the law. You do usually. Someone's lying here, no question. You gotta work out who it is. Please, for the boss.
That outburst was an insult to the court and to your own testimony. I might have known that a common pickpocket from the back slums couldn't make a detective. When this trial is over, you will forfeit your warrant card, Miss Lestrade. Is that clear?
I've had it with the hot with you. It's lies. Every bleeding place you look at the world, innit? Well, I've had enough.
Gina. So have I. After that little speech of Gina's, I've made up my mind.
To do what, Miss Nardo?
There was one point in this cross-examination when something that was said just didn't sit right with me. One statement that seemed odd.
Oh, do you mean...
I'm not going to let Gina's plea for help fall on deaf ears. I want to thank you, Gina. You helped me find my resolve. Eh? What do you mean? Amongst everything we've... Looks like Gina could use a Susato hug. Yeah. Although, I'm a little worried about, like, whether that has anything in common with the Susato takedown. That's all I'm worried about. Flying tackle of a hug. Yeah, it's just a little concerning, and I just, you know, don't worry about it. Gina's a hardy girl. That's true. If anyone could take a Susato hug, it would be her. It definitely would not be Naruto. Amongst everything we've heard during this cross-examination, there's one thing that defies explanation. One inconsistency. What? An inconsistency. Really, Odo? I don't quite know what it means yet, but... Yes, there's an inconsistency in something that was said by... By you, Kazuma Asagi. Let's save. Me. Is this some attempted filibustering, Council? Prosecutor Asagi has given no testimony. What are you suggesting I said that was inconsistent? You let something slip that you shouldn't have. When I present the relevant piece of evidence, I imagine you'll realize what you've done. Very well then, Counsel. Go ahead. What evidence reveals this alleged inconsistency in something Prosecutor Asagi has said? This is a trunk that belonged to Inspector Gregson. A metal construction, is it? It's certainly very heavy. What's this? A blood stain, and a relatively fresh one, too. What? You mind that ain't grease from all the boss's fish and chips? Fresh blood on the inspector's trunk. That's just that the victim was traveling with that luggage when he was killed. That can't be. There was no mention of any trunk in Scotland Yard's report. Yes, there's a reason for that. Immediately after the inspector's body was discovered, one of the street peddlers made off with the trunk, hoping to sell it. But I found it. Me, with my nose for trouble. Which means that nobody should have known anything about the trunk. Unless, of course, we're talking about somebody who was present when the victim was killed. And yet, during the cross-examination of the witness just now, you said this, Kazuma. Because at the time he was making his way to the steamship docked on the northern coast of France, as shown by the passport found in the victim's metal trunk. So the question is, how did you know about the inspector's trunk? We know the man went on a trip to France. Where else would he have put his passport? But you knew it was a metal trunk. Answer me honestly, Kazuma. On 31st October, where exactly were you? At the port of Dunkirk, on board the SS Grouse. Is that the answer you're looking for, Ryanosuke? Kazuma, what did you... I hadn't considered the possibility before, but if Kazuma was there on the ship, then it could only have been for one purpose. Oh no, Mr. Odo. Surely you don't think... Come on, Ryonosuke. You know the rules. The only thing I really talks in the courtroom is hard evidence. As I understand it, Inspector Gregson always took that case with him when he traveled. So as it stands, you've proved nothing. Kazuma, are you challenging me to prove it beyond all reasonable doubt? That you were there that day in the same place as the inspector? He was there with Gregson? There's a clue that you've overlooked. A secret that Trump can tell us. I can't be sure at this point. I'll need to verify it. But I have a nasty feeling that I'm going to be right. The accusation being made is deeply disturbing. But nevertheless, we must test it. The defense will identify for the court where in the trunk this alleged clue is to be found. Where is the evidence that ties Prosecutor Asogi to Inspector Gregson? Let's have a look inside. Look at this dark stain here. Do you think... Yes, I'm afraid so. I think it's blood. I knew you were going to say that. That presumably means this was present at the scene when Inspector Gregson was killed. It's the most logical conclusion, yes. I think she has been carrying this around with her. No, any better, I suppose. No. It doesn't look like a grease stain. It really doesn't. Evidence that ties. 1st October. This passport is for the day before Gregson's body was found. Needed this document for his trip to France. And when it says permission for the applicant and one additional person to travel, I can't believe it was you, Kazuma. Oh. This is your proof? What do you say to that, Prosecutor Asogi? Personally, I think tying the defense counsel to the inspector's trunk and tossing it in the sea would be more helpful. What? At least that way, London's courtrooms will be safe from his destructive accusations. I believe that it was a rather long-winded way of telling you you're wrong, Mr. Noda. Very well. Then let us see if you sink or swim under the weight of this penalty, counsel. Masato, you can't allow yourself to be drowned at sea yet. I was hoping to never let that happen, funnily enough. Okay, well the only thing left then... Wait, what? So it's the blood? It's gotta be the blood. Because it's the only thing left. Wait, what? Okay, so I'm missing something then. Because I had a feeling, like, none of those things seemed like they would tie them together. Can we just shake everything out? Yeah. Have you seen this huge gash across the side of... Oh!
Oh! Gosh, for a metal chest like this to have been so badly damaged, whatever made the gash must have struck the side of the truck with considerable force.
Wonder how it happened. Oh! It's his sword. But, no, I could have sworn... I thought maybe if I had them talk about it, it would be different, but... No. Okay. You sure you looked close enough at the gash? But I have... Oh, let's look from the inside. Ah! Do you see that? There's something stuck in the side of the trunk there. It's glinting. It looks like a fragment of metal of some sort. But it's wedged in so tightly I can't remove it. Well, don't cut yourself. You'd better leave it, I think. Okay. Thanks, sir. There's a small piece of metal lodged in the wall of the trunk there, like the tip of a blade. So at least I can feel good that I figured out on my own that the gash was made by his sword. I can at least feel good about that. A blade? Kazuma, slung around your waist as ever today, is the esteemed blade Karuma. Of course it is. Won't you draw it here in this courtroom for all to see? Exercise caution. Yeah, you found the gash first and you thought to look from the inside. Yeah. So I basically put it all together myself. I just needed that extra little push from your side to look at it from a new angle. My hint might have even slowed you down there. No, I don't think so, because I wasn't really thinking about looking at it from the inside. I wasn't thinking about that yet. You know, you were saying, have you looked closer at it? And, you know, I had to think, okay, if I can't... If every time I press on this... If every time I press A on this... From this angle, I get the same thing, I have to get it from a different angle. So, you know. I still needed that push. But yeah, no, it's, exercise caution, my learned friend. That man is the son of London's most notorious killer. Bailiff, watch Prosecutor Asagi like a hawk. That won't be necessary. Oh no! The tip is broken. If the fragment of metal from the trunk fits together with the end of the sword, the question of who was there with Inspector Gregson will be answered. Agreed, Kazuma Asagi? Expertly done, Ranosuke. That's a point to you, and well deserved. Do you mean to tell the court, Prosecutor Asogi? Yes, on the 31st of October, I accompanied Inspector Gregson to Dunkirk in order to carry out a mission. So the additional person authorized to travel was me. And the mission was the assassination of the Mark. What? You mean you're the killer whose name was omitted from this notebook? You were following the Reaper's orders to dispatch Judge Jigoku? Let me make one thing perfectly clear. I have killed no one. Explain. I accepted the assassination mission, yes, and I accompanied Gregson to Dunkirk, but I never had any intention of carrying out the plan. You were never going to do it? We can believe Kazuma-sama, I'm sure. After all, Judge Jigoku arrived safely in London the following day. On the 31st, I boarded a train from London with Inspector Gregson. We traveled to Dover, from where we crossed the Channel to Dunkirk. Oh, sorry. Wait, sorry. On the 31st, I boarded a train from London with Inspector Gregson. We traveled to Dover, from where we crossed the Channel to Dunkirk. Then we boarded the SS Grouse and made for the cabin deck, as indicated in the plan. You went to Judge Jigoku's cabin? Exactly. He wasn't there, though. We decided to wait, but you've already told us that you had no intention of going through with it anyway. I didn't come to Great Britain to take anyone's life, so I left Gregson and disembarked the ship. I spent that night at a boarding house in the town and returned to England the following morning. A boarding house? In Dunkirk? My signature will be in the register book. It would be simple enough to verify. Then what became of Jigoku? Gregson was no assassin, so the Mark was spared. I'm sure it's easy enough to imagine what happened after that. Gregson returned to England as well, having failed to complete the mission. He met with the Reaper in that room on Fresno Street to report the failure, causing the infuriated mastermind to pull the trigger and end his wretched agent's life. That's the real truth behind Inspector Gregson's murder. And I think I'm gonna stop there tonight, because I get the feeling that that's gonna be challenged, and then it's gonna be a whole other thing to deal with. And I only got 2 minutes until the end of my stream, so... Sarah, thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. It was really nice to have you here. Thank you to everyone who was and wasn't here. This case goes on very long. Okay, good to know. Well, I'm sure we'll have a few more weeks with it then. And then, of course, we'll start on Professor Layton, which will last us a long time, because there's many games in that series. But yes, thank you so much, Sarah, and thank you so much to all my queers and dears who were and weren't here. And I will see you all on Saturday, where we are going to start with so movie night tomorrow night in my server, we're going to be finishing off the Back to the Future trilogy. And then on Saturdays, we're going to put a pause on the Deponia series and go do the Back to the Future Telltale game. And then once we're done with that, we will be back to Deponia on Saturdays. So, yep. It's exciting. Oh, and Ghost Trick is coming out on the Switch, I believe, tomorrow. So we'll be doing that on Tuesdays. So that's exciting too. Ghost Trick is awesome. And it's actually made by the same guy. I know, Sarah, you know this already, but for anyone else who's watching or not, Ghost Trick is made by the same guy who created Ace Attorney and did the original Ace Attorney trilogy and the two great Ace Attorney games. So, Ghost Trick Day Eve. Well, no, technically that's... Ghost Trick Day Eve will be... Monday. Which will be my birthday, actually. Which I forgot, yeah, on the 3rd, I will be doing a bunch of community streams, like, with, like, Jackbox, maybe some Among Us, stuff like that. So, obviously, folks are invited there, of course. Everyone is, of course, invited. That's for anyone who wants to join. So, yeah. Well, I guess, let's see if there's anyone to raid. Oh, nope. No one I follow is streaming right now. That's sad. Oh well. C'est la vie. I guess I will see you all on Saturday then. Toodles for now. Bye.